You're listening to the Coop Homeschool Podcast.
This is your podcast for community, humility, and joyful fun in homeschooling. I'm Mandy.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is
The Coop. This week we're talking about our homeschool plan for the year. It's such a fun time of year. We already kicked off the school year. We discussed our first day of school. And now we're going to share with you some of the fun things that we've planned, kind of how we came up with those plans, and then some specifics on what we're using to give you guys some ideas.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be inspiring.
Yes. So we'll get started with our scoop on the Coop.
Yeah, sounds great. We have a shared one.
That's right. We decided to start a lending library for our Coop group. So as you know, we have a casual co-op that we run with our own homeschool friends. And one of our friends, well, actually a couple of you guys, had this brilliant idea to start sharing books. So we came up with a lending library. I created the logo and the tub and all this fun stuff.
A big Coop bin.
Yeah.
The book box.
The book box. And then we came up with two concepts because we wanted to be able to share books that we loved, but wanted to make sure we got them back eventually.
Yeah, so that's the borrow.
Yeah,
the borrow box.
We have our borrow box, and then we have our, what is
donate box.
Yes, but we call it, what is it called?
The take box?
Our take, give, keep. Something like that. Give, take, keep, so you can borrow from it. You can keep it forever if you love it, and then you can donate more books to that one. So that one's a great one for anyone who doesn't want the pressure of having to keep track of books to give back to the original owner. So we did a whole bunch of fun stuff.
Yeah, and that was really fun. I was the first one to get it,
yes.
And I opened it up, and there were these cute stickers that you stick inside your books that you're just lending with your name on it, and then there's a whole book borrow log.
Yes.
And then you write your book in that, and then you can see up to 6 people, which people have borrowed your book.
Exactly. We debated doing the library card, but I was saying that I felt like the library card stays with the book, so then you can't see where your book is in that moment. So A, it's nice to track a book that you really want back, so you know who to call if you haven't seen it in a while. And then B, it's fun for your kids to see where the books are in real time. Oh, so-and-so had it, and now this family has it? That's so cool, because it's fun if you want to encourage them to share a book.
Yeah, and my 8-year-old was super excited I think she donated a number of her books, and then she lent a number of her books.
Yes.
And I actually had to tell her, okay, you have filled it up, and we need room for other people.
Yeah.
Let's save these for next time it comes around.
Yes, exactly.
So that was really fun.
And that is fun. I can imagine this book box growing a little out of control.
Yeah.
With so many books, but that's how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to get it back to one of us, every few turns, so that we can kind of refresh. Because I'm happy to take out the books of mine that just don't seem popular, so that we can have better books in there.
And the beauty of having a borrow box and I'll just call it donate box, is I know there was some concern that some families, their kids aren't able to handle the books and keep them nice.
Right.
Well, they don't have to be left out because they could have the donate box.
Right.
They just wouldn't use the borrow.
Right. Keep it put away.
And then I threw in some Pop Rocks.
Yes.
Did you see those in there?
Yes, I did.
I wasn't sure whether or not to do it because I didn't want the kids to associate candy and rewards,
right? But
because
it's
the
fun.
Book boxes, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And then also you had some cute Coop group notes for the kids to paperclip inside their book to say why they love their book so much and why they maybe are recommending it, basically.
Right. So I thought it would be fun for the kids to be able to share with each other what they like about the book that they chose to put in the borrow box. Not for every book, but maybe for one. Just pick one and let us know why you love that book. And, trying to talk about not giving any spoilers, but at the same time, share what brought you joy in this book. So that maybe your friend will decide to pick it up or not.
Yeah. And I think we're probably going to make those available on our website, right, for people to be able to download. So
we have a podcast, or not a podcast, a blog. The podcast. We have the blog coming soon with more information, and then if you want to use our downloadable items for your ideas as well, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. It's just kind of fun to have that within the group. And actually, since I'm doing a picture book a day, we picked out a number of of your picture books from the borrow box. And so since this is our first week back to school, we have 3 of those for this week.
That's awesome.
So that saved me some money. And since we aren't really going to the library right now at this August of 2020, it's really great to have that option.
Totally. And that was why the idea came about. You know, people are at almost 6 months into this coronavirus stuff. They're not going to the library.
Yeah.
Especially as homeschoolers.
And now now we're talking about putting in the homeschool development books, or like the mom books, like Homegrown.
Yeah, like the one that we're reviewing next week. We have Homegrown. So read chapters up to chapter 3.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. If you've already underlined everything in there, then the next person who reads it, the mom or dad or whoever can quickly go through it and get all the major nuggets without it being a big commitment.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, that was a big scoop on the coop.
It's such an exciting one.
I know. All right. So should we start talking about this year?
Yes.
Do you want me to go first?
I think you going first is good.
Okay.
Yeah. You be the doozy and I'll wrap it up.
Okay. So normally I plan my year with themes, and one year I didn't plan with themes. It just wasn't as fun for me. And I actually didn't do as much. So this year I didn't do theme by month. I'm using our motto as our major theme, which is make a joyful noise unto the Lord. And you can even shorten it just saying make a joyful noise. And what does that mean? So the way that looks in our academics is through music.
Right.
So I'm trying each month to introduce a new genre or go deeper into a genre we already know about, or a decade.
Yes.
I think I'm going to do musicals first.
Yes.
So, and I'll probably spend 1 to 2 months on that because that's such a big thing for me. Between Phantom and Les Mis and now Hamilton. And there's certain songs they can watch.
Yeah.
You know, they may not be able to watch the whole thing of Les Mis so much. Since I do have a 5-year-old, but
it's just the opening.
Yeah.
Just the first few.
With Cosette, or not, with Fontaine.
With Fontaine, yeah. And then Javert at the end.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, but musicals. Fiddler on the Roof.
Totally.
I could do Fiddler on the Roof. But I plan to do that with them, and then we're utilizing ukulele lessons, piano lessons, and then any other instruments they want to learn. We have a bunch. So that's kind of part of our make a joyful noise.
Yes.
And then also part of the arts, I'll just go into that a little bit more, is I think every month we're going to either do a musician or an artist.
That's awesome.
So this coming month we're doing Claude Monet.
Fun.
And I have this picture book about Claude Monet. And we're going to study, I'll give them the option if they want to study lily pads and if they want to look at the habitats, which they probably will because they're really into that sort of thing. Yeah. So we'll probably rabbit trail down that a little bit. And then I ordered oil paints, and we'll go to Balboa Park and look at the lily pads, and I'll set up easels and canvases, and I even got them those little discs for palettes.
Oh, cute, yeah.
So they haven't come in the mail yet, and we'll put the oil paints on there, and I'll probably do a YouTube lesson about oil painting before we go.
Sure.
Sometime, the week prior. They'll also learn about Impressionism, and we can go to the botanical gardens too. They have lily pads. So that's just one idea of how to do a unit study, and then whatever else they want to study that is part of that.
Right.
And it all just starts off with Claude Monet, and there's history in that too. He left France in 1870 or 1869,
before the revolution.
Right before, yeah. So I thought, we can look at the war for a little bit, see if they're interested in that kind of history. That will clue me into future planning and things. So that's kind of the art section for just this first couple months that we'll be doing. And then dance. We're not sure about dance, but hopefully part of the arts will include maybe some jazz or ballet.
Sure.
Some movement in general, especially as things start opening back up again, hopefully. All right, so that's how I'm handling the arts. And then I'll move on to a big doozy, which is language.
Yes, go for it.
And I'm just going to throw out a whole bunch of stuff that we use. So for anyone who's interested, they can dive deeper.
Yeah.
We really like Classical Academic Press. That publisher does well-ordered language.
Yeah.
And so we're still on the A book, the 1A. I've bought 1B to go into when we're done. We're at the very end of 1A, which is pronouns. We're doing pronouns, and then next is interrogative sentences. So we'll be doing that. And then we'll go into 1B, which dives into more parts of speech.
Right.
And more types of sentences. And also, I think, fables and things like that.
Yeah.
Also, the same publisher does Latin. So we're starting that, and there's CDs and stuff, and my husband has done Latin, has studied Latin. So that I think I'll have a big help with. And again, that's just laying the basis for learning a language later on, which I know they will love doing.
Right.
So I'm just trying to develop their minds for that. And then spell to write and read is something we do for phonics, and I really like that. There's a lot of training online. Yes. And it's literally, you just use your fingers, and you know a letter per finger or a sound per finger, or you put two fingers together for like a CH, for
right,
like chirp.
blend.
Yeah. So my 10-year-old's going to be teaching my 5-year-old how to read using that, as long as she wants to, as long as she's moving forward and they're having fun doing that.
Right.
Also, we're reviewing cursive first. So I'm really into cursive first. And there's a lot of research for that, as for different reasons of why to do cursive first. And it uses like the musical side of your brain. So I really like that. The connecting of the letters is like the connecting of musical notes. And they say it's actually easier. So for those of you who your kids are having trouble with like circles and sticks,
right,
cursive is a great way to go. If your kid's not having trouble with circles and sticks, you probably don't need to go that way.
Sure.
But I just went with that first anyways, having no idea and if what they would be good at. And then we're doing read aloud.
Yep.
So my husband is doing the Land of Stories. He's going to continue with that. I'm doing picture books every day. And then our Coop group is doing a book club. So I'll be reading aloud for that. Like in October is Alice in Wonderland. We'll be doing Black Beauty. Later on, we'll be doing like What Is or Who Is. We'll pick a Who Is. Mouse and the Motorcycle. So that's coming up as a book club for kids.
Yes.
We also do a word a day, Mrs. Wordsmith.
Oh yeah, I love that one. We have the game. It's a really fun one. It's like an apples to apples. I've talked about it before, but it's another fun way to incorporate advanced vocabulary in a fun, interactive way.
I know. We need to play that game because they love the word a day. They ask for it. They'd be like, "We didn't do our word a day," and I was like, "Oh, I know. Well, I have so many
for everything."
Yeah. So all this stuff. It's not like I do it every day.
Sure.
I ebb and flow. So. Oh, and I'll just finish.
Right, this is your year plan.
Yeah, so these are all the stuff involved in our year. So they'll do their own free reading as they want, their own free writing, whether it's their own diary or now I think my son is doing a feelings book. He just finished his diary. He said he's done with the diary, and he has a book where each day he's like drawing a picture of his feelings or whatever. So I'm like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm like,
I love that so much.
Yeah, that's so, I'm like, awesome. I can't wait to see. So he just started it. So we'll see how long this lasts.
See if he shares it with you too.
I know. See, yeah. And then Mad Libs.
Yep.
That's part of our dailies.
Sure.
And I've talked about dailies before.
Yes.
And then poetry tea time. So I feel like with all of that, when we do well-ordered language, we don't do spell to write and read.
Exactly. You can't do it all at once.
Right. And when we do like the word a day, the picture book, the Mad Libs, those can all be in one little sitting, 20 minutes here. And then the other thing we're doing is, and this crosses a number of subjects, but I'll do it with language right now. Harry Potter, Waldock Way. It's a Harry Potter themed year, and the kids book is like 170 pages, and I have a teacher manual as well. It's all Harry Potter themed. It came with like its own Spot It,
right?
Harry Potter Spot It basically.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
one of our Coop group moms recommended that, and you bought it on the spot.
I was like, oh yeah, I'll do it.
Sold.
Yeah, sold. That's what I said. Like sold. But it was only like $30, let's say maybe about for a download, and it ate up a lot of ink because there's a lot of color.
Sure.
But and I'm also gonna that's also in science too. There's chemistry and things like that. But for language, there's a lot of writing prompts.
That's awesome.
So a lot of creative writing, and then you also study J.K. Rowling. Even though we already did her Who Is, they do have like a comparison you can do between your life and her life.
Just a different way.
Yeah. So that's stuff we haven't done yet. All we had done was read the Who Is. So
that's awesome.
So that's all in language. And then math, we just switched from Right Start Math, which is awesome, to Math UC. Yes. So we actually just got them today.
Yay!
Yeah, so they're on my bed, Beta, Gamma, and Delta.
Right, because your son's in Gamma, Delta.
Yeah, and then my 8-year-old will do
Beta, like mine.
Yeah, Beta, and then Gamma.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make sure I got all the levels. And then my youngest, my 5-year-old, will start doing Alpha.
Perfect.
So now I feel like I have it all up, Alpha to Delta.
Yep.
And so we'll be doing that, and we're doing games for math as always, in problem solving, but also in keeping score.
Right.
So that's math basically, and there might be some online things that they do for fun, and like Multiplication Nation and things like that. Okay, then for history, I love Who Is.
Yes.
And where is and what is. And the reason is because of the rabbit trail idea. So when we did Who Is, we did Who Is Jane Goodall.
Right.
And so then Jane Goodall brought us to then do some fiction of Dr. Dolittle.
Right.
And then that was at the Canaries. So then we looked at the Canaries, and we did a picture book, your picture book. And then we did we did watercolors of that. And then we actually studied, we looked at YouTubes of gorillas and just like actually jungle life in general.
Yeah.
So it's amazing and when we did Diary of a Wimpy Kid, they were interested in that. So then we did the Who Is Jeff Kinney, who is the author. And then we studied what he liked. Yeah. And learned about that. So that's kind of a neat thing of history, especially if you get a historical figure.
Sure.
Not just an author, but someone like Jane Goodall or I think Michelle Obama has a Who Is, you know. So, and then later this year, we'll probably jump back into Story of the World, and hopefully I can get their buy-in with that again, volume 2. And then the Atlas Crate. So we've been doing Universal Yums. I've talked about that being the magic of our homeschooling. But I thought we'd try Atlas Crate. So I have 6 crates over there. And so I have enough to what I would consider 6 months of studying different countries. And we always study the history of those countries. We find them on the globe. And it just gives them exposure, so that hopefully when we do Story of the World, they recognize the country, they can picture where it is on the globe, and it just gives them more context for what they're learning. And Atlas Crate is done by Kiwi Crate, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
And then science, so I normally actually don't segment like this as much, but I tried to segment these into different categories for those because we might not get to some of these for months.
Right.
I might block schedule. I might say, okay, these next couple of weeks, let's look at, let's study language and whatever else you're interested in. If we're doing a Who Is, that might be the whole month, whatever that rabbit trails us into.
Yeah.
And then I might be like, oh, let's do some phonics. Let's practice our phonics for a little bit. But for science, I am super excited about Bitsbox. So Bitsbox is a subscription. Yeah. I have two out of the 3 kids' boxes are here. I'm waiting for the 3rd one to get them started.
Awesome.
But it's a subscription crate, basically coding and building their own apps and playing their own games. And they get a little binder. Yeah. And I've heard that it progresses. So they start off really easy. So if your kid is already into coding and stuff like that, you may want to talk with Bitsbox before you order to get a later level. And then again, with science, we have the Harry Potter, and that has chemistry and more. So a Waldock Way will be walking me through a lot of the science. And then I also have these books called Exploring the Building Blocks of Science. And it's just a student workbook, and there's a teacher one too.
That's cool.
But what I liked about it is it's book 1, and it's they go over the 5 main categories of science. They have chemistry, and you learn about the history of chemistry, why study chemistry, and then some chemistry.
That's cool.
And then they do physics, biology, geology, and astronomy. And so I figure, by the time we get to astronomy, it'll be May, Star Wars month. Right. So it'll be a perfect time to group that in. So
that's awesome.
So I'd probably plan it in that way. Chemistry would be great when we do some chemistry with Harry Potter.
Sure.
So I might not go in order in a book, but I can go by category.
Right.
So that's kind of what we're doing for science right now. I feel like just life in general is science, and what they're interested in is science, sciencey stuff. So in their what they wanted to study, if there was some science things they wanted to study in there, I'll probably space those out throughout the year when I look at their questionnaire that they had. Also, that's probably when we'll look more at Minecraft. I would see Minecraft as a sciencey thing.
Right.
Legos is I know they definitely want to spend time with Legos.
Right.
So today at Costco, I actually they had the 1,500 piece set available again. So those are $40 at Costco. So normally I just buy one at a time, but I bought 3 this time.
Ooh, good for you.
Yeah, because I was like, we're always hoping, are they back in stock? Are they back in stock? They were back in stock today. So I'm like, I'm just going to buy 3, $40 each, but I can space it out now throughout the year.
Are you going to plan to just kind of introduce them as they're kind of needed?
Yeah.
It's not one per child.
Well, I don't know.
Right? You don't have a specific.
Yeah, but I was thinking of spacing them out because we don't have any kits coming their way now for a while because they got their kits the first day of school. They spent 3 hours doing that.
It's amazing.
And now it's going to be a while. So I may want to introduce those, in a couple weeks, maybe just one box, or they all get their own and see how long it lasts.
Yeah,
who knows? And then, of course, we'll have probably sports in there once that opens up. Gymnastics, Sky Zone, which is a trampoline park, our Coop group for beach days, and whatever else we have planned besides the book club, and theme days. So the kids get to plan their own theme days, and then they also tell me what topics they want to do, and then I will plan some for them and weave in all the different kinds of literature and history and science to those theme days. But they love it because it's all about the theme. And they get to watch the movie or play the game or whatever. So that is basically the content of our year, if we're just talking content.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's
so,
amazing.
and of course, I'm not doing it all at the same time. And I always overplan. And so hopefully that doesn't make me feel pressure to get things done, but at least I know we have a lot that we could do, and it's kind of ready for them as we need it and want to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So how about you? What do you have planned for this year?
Well, yours is really intimidating. And it makes me feel like
It's an over-planner.
Makes me feel like I don't have a plan.
You don't,
It's not true. I do.
Yeah.
So I'll break it down by subject.
Okay.
Because that wasn't originally how I was going to talk about it, but I loved that idea because I love being able to share what I am using. So language arts, I love spelling UC. We've used that since the beginning. It's still working. She doesn't love spending. I have my 8-year-old, and she's going into what grade are they in? Third. Oh, 3rd grade, according to whatever. Yeah. But so she's 8, and she's a fantastic reader now. So it's good for her to work on this because she has a really high verbal vocabulary, but her spelling, and that's just practice and time and all that stuff. So this is my great way of sneaking in all of this work, and it's only 10 minutes or less per day.
Well, and if she's typing a lot on her stories and stuff, they see it. And because my daughter's now doing hers, I said, your buddy here is doing hers on typing. Would you like to? And she's like, yes.
Why didn't I know that was an option? And
it's so funny looking. I can see all these red lines all over the place, and I was like, oh, at some point, I'd love to help her go back in and re-sound those out.
Well, so let me share with you, because that's another part of our language arts, is she has been super interested in this. And it's actually so cool because she got to a point where she was writing for fun, mostly, what is it, fan fiction.
Yeah.
And I know I talked about that before. But now she started a new one, and she was like, actually, I really like this story, and I want to sell this book.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, good.
Now spelling matters.
Right. Yeah. The unschooler mind was like, yes, opportunity. I see like all the opportunity to do this. But I know my kid well enough to know that she would like to do this in a more official way. She doesn't accept, and I'm not an expert, of course, but she doesn't like it if I am an expert in something. Mm-hmm. She really only accepts me being an expert in maybe dance, since I'm a dance instructor. Everything else, she's like, well, you just kind of know it. And that's fine. That's, we'll work through those things. But I figured it would be really fun for her to go through the editing process.
Oh yeah, that's
so
awesome.
what we did is we talked about the process of publishing a book. And so one of my really good friends is a book writer herself, and so this would be a great time, and she's a fellow homeschooler, so this would be a great opportunity for them to have some time together.
Totally.
Because this friend of mine has 2 boys, so it would be fun if I could take her boys for the day and she could take my girl, and they can have just some time together as writers.
Right.
And my friend can teach her about editing. So rather than, this is how it works in my house because my child prefers this method. So rather than sitting down and having a grammar lesson, we will take her work and show her how to improve it based on grammatical rules.
And with someone who you love and who loves her and loves you.
And she respects as an expert in the field.
Right. And is.
Yeah. So this is they're both very excited about this. We have no dates or anything. My daughter is still currently working on her book.
Yeah.
She's on chapter 7.
Well, I can't imagine a better way to teach that.
Right.
I mean, and that's why I'm just like, I'm looking at my daughter's, all the red underlines, and I'm like, someday she's going to say, how do I spell this correctly?
Exactly.
And that's going to be really great because now we'll practice using the phonics and the tools that she knows. You know?
Yeah.
Like
I
using
love
your
that.
spell you see, she's going to be able to work through that with your friend, and you know,
it's all going to make sense to her. She doesn't, this is just her method of learning. It always has been since she was little. She wants to do it in something that's applicable to what she loves.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to do it the other way.
Sense. Yeah.
So I'm super excited for all of that for language arts. So that's pretty easy. She's been working, one of the new things I haven't shared yet is she's started a comic book series too. So it's basically the same as her original book series that started this whole thing. Last year, so it's basically the same thing, but now in comic book form, which is super fun and exciting.
Totally.
So I just love that she loves all these different things. So language arts is pretty well handled. We have our Coop book club, like you discussed, and she can pick up any free reading she wants. If she wants to do read alouds or choose an audiobook, we can absolutely listen to that together, or she can do it by herself. So what I do need to do, what I haven't finished yet, is compiling the book list for appropriate books for this year and next year, and then getting those books and just having them available. So
I heard about that on Read Aloud Revival podcast. Just saying, here's an awesome supply of books, and you're good with all of those.
Right.
Then that's easy to know that they're getting in these genres or this variety.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I started that process in January. And then it turned out to be such a blessing because we ended up with the quarantine by March. And it turned out she really was having a hard time. She was struggling with so many things. And so reading was truly her escape. And I loved being able to give that to her. And so just having all kinds of books. And so, you saw, I posted the picture on Instagram if you didn't see, but she had just gotten done reading. She's read Series of Unfortunate Events. She just got done reading Brandon Mull. Another Read Aloud Revival author recommendation. And so she read Spirit Animals, and then she just finished Fablehaven. So one of his other series that's great for kids who like Harry Potter. So that's the author I told you about, because I think your spouse would really like going through that author.
Did I write that down?
Maybe I'll write it down for you.
Okay, all right.
I got you. So she went from that, and then she picked up Shakespeare.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was awesome.
Great. Glad that was in the shelf. She's got all kinds of stuff. She's read it was my copy of Little Women. It's like a young reader's
So my
version.
8-year-old, now she picked it up when she was about 6.
Okay.
And she could not get through it.
It's hard. I cannot believe mine did, because A, it's not fantasy. Fantasy is her genre for sure. And B, it's kind of slow and mushy and emotional. And I was really surprised. It's not normally something she latches onto.
Super thick. And I have the Usborne one.
Okay.
And that actually has pictures in it. And it's not abridged. It's the full thing.
Oh, yeah. No, this one's abridged. Maybe I'll lend you this one.
Oh, the abridged one. Yeah.
If you feel like she's interested. But so my daughter has now read it twice.
Oh, okay.
Because she loved it that much, which is super awesome. So she's read it twice. I don't know the first time she picked it up, but it was sometime after April. And she's already read it twice because she just keeps picking up a book. She's always got a book with her now.
I always loved Joe March.
I know. Joe's my favorite, obviously. Can't be anyone but Joe.
No,
Maybe Meg.
right.
Maybe Meg.
Oh, yeah. Well,
You don't want to be Beth.
No.
you love her. She's amazing, but you can't be Beth.
Yeah.
And
Or
definitely not
Amy.
Amy.
Oh.
But anyway, and then she found a copy of my little house book on the shores of Silver Lake that I wrote in.
Cute.
And I think I dated it 1996.
That's adorable.
So I would have been 11 years old, and I like wrote, "Dear
I was
future-"
graduating high school.
I know. That's our age difference. I wrote in. I said, "Dear future reader,"
Aww.
and then I wrote something, and so my
So
daughter
cute.
like picked that one up out of order because we had just finished Little House, and she hadn't read any of the others, and Silver Shore is like book 5 or so. So anyway. It's just fun to see what she has to pick up. So I just need to keep expanding that library, but I have nowhere to put the books. I need to find a new bookshelf.
Well, you need to do what I did. I put them in a bin and put them in the garage.
But she likes to reread, and there is a lot of value in rereading. So as long as I keep all of the, I don't want to say age appropriate because that's really limiting, but all of the interest appropriate books out, I think that's okay. So what I am doing is I'm kind of purging. If it's a series she already read, maybe, I don't need to keep the whole series out. Maybe I just keep book 1 because she can always say, "Oh, can you get out that series?" And it's no big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's true because my 8-year-old's on her third round of Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Exactly. And rereading has a lot of benefits.
And there's comfort in rereading.
There's comfort in rereading. It's great for comprehension because there's things they may have missed the first time, and it teaches them to pay attention to these other things. So there's actually a lot of value in comprehension. They can take vocabulary that they may not have understood the first time, but now that they have even broader context for the story, they can add in the inference and the definition for that word, which is wonderful. So I do like rereading, so I'm hesitant to put the books away.
Yeah.
But
I put away a lot of our reference books, I should say. Like books that I'm like, oh, okay, I'll put away these dinosaur books when we revisit that in a few years.
Exactly. So that's language arts. That's always the biggest one.
Yeah, that is. That was the biggest one for me, too.
Yeah. So then math, we also do Math UC and plenty of games. She loves baking with me.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
So that one's a great one for fractions, and I will often throw in a change up every once in a while and ask her to do half the recipe.
Oh, cool.
Or double the recipe.
Yeah.
She hasn't taken to fractions super easily. That one seems to take a lot of practice for her. So I need to find some different ways to discuss fractions and find something that might
what's her favorite fruit pie?
Yeah, she doesn't care about pies. Yeah. So it's just I haven't found one that fits, and I've tried pizza, I've tried all kinds of different things. So I just need to figure out something different for her. It's not I'll get creative.
Yeah.
Or it's just not the right time.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of matching. So if it says 1/2, make sure you don't just think it's 1, because that's what we used to do. She would just see one number and just go for it. And I'm like, nope, it has to match exactly. And then she'll match it on the measuring cup or whatever.
I always talk in jelly beans when I do addition and subtraction, and I never can remember which kid hates jelly beans. And so whenever I do if you had 8 jelly beans and had to give it half away, what would that be? And whoever it is always like, well, I don't like jelly beans, so I don't even care.
That's basically how my kid is. So most of the things that I naturally come up with, she doesn't relate to. So what I need to do is stick her dad on it and say, okay, since you share a brain, can you come up with something that you think that she'll make sense of? You know? And so we'll figure it out. And otherwise, I just don't want to push it. I don't want to make it something she always refuses to learn because it felt frustrating. So
totally.
We'll do our best. She likes to cook, so we'll just find a way to make it work for now, and then we'll get that skill developed later, because there's still plenty that she's doing. So that's math. History, we also do Story of the World. We just moved into volume 3, which is really fun.
What's the era?
That's post-Shakespearean. So we finished the Elizabethan era at the end of volume 2. And now,
did they do the Reformation at all? Or is that coming? That's like 1500s.
Oh, we didn't start from the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, we haven't fully started our school year yet. We've kind of, we're doing learning, but I haven't kicked off that part of the curriculum yet.
Yeah.
But I did jump into the Revolution, the American Revolution.
Oh, of course you did.
Because
of Hamilton.
I know. My daughter really wanted to watch Hamilton, and normally I would have said, absolutely not. You're not old enough. But her cousins loved it, and I really didn't want her to have spoilers.
I know.
Harry Potter, I knew I could help with a little bit more. But I felt like Hamilton, because it's such a phenomenon right now, I couldn't really keep it from her, and I knew that I wanted her to see it firsthand and not experience it through someone else.
Yeah.
So she hadn't listened to the soundtrack. She didn't know any of the characters yet. So what I told her is, okay, if you sit down and listen to that part in our Story of the World curriculum first, then I will watch
great.
Hamilton with you. So she did. And I mean, it was like 20 minutes of listening. It was really
That's
short.
awesome.
They covered the revolution.
That
Bang,
gave her
bang, bang.
Yeah, that gave her the context.
But it was great. It was a great covering of the revolution. I mean, it's not specifically just a one thing or one segment in time coverage. So they went on to that, and then they went immediately into the French Revolution, you know, and they moved on. So it was short and sweet, and I was like, all right, well then that's it. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we haven't gone back to the beginning of volume 3.
Oh,
we
okay.
just got lucky and had, you know, since that's when we're working on this year. So we'll go back to it later and then really dig deeper into the revolution now that she even knows more about the characters because of the musical. I think she'll have so much interest in really learning about them.
How
just
fun.
like me.
Yeah.
So she can
It's
now.
fun when you can both take joy in whatever it is that you're studying.
Totally. And then when I asked her what she wanted to learn this year, she actually said Greek mythology. I was like, all right, done.
Yeah.
So that was from volume 1. I think we learned that in volume 1. And so my husband and I did some research, and we're trying to figure out what is age appropriate because there's a lot in the Greek myths that we want to censor for now. So we found a couple of options. So there's the Diolaires book of Greek myths. So I'm interested to see what that really looks like, but that made it on our list.
And that has a lot of, it has 1,200, almost 1,300 reviews, 5 stars, so it's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
So that one was why it made it to our list. And I figure taking in this information in different ways is always great.
Yeah.
And we already had the Usborne, what did they call them? They're short stories. It's like the thick book with
I have
a
like
bunch of short
Aesop's
stories. Yeah.
And,
So she's read that one probably cover to cover 5 times.
Cool.
In the last year and a half. Yeah. So she loves that one. But now she's ready for more. And then we also found the Olympians boxed set.
Oh, fun.
So this covers Zeus, Athena, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and Aphrodite. So that one will be cool. They're sold individually, but we're going to go with the whole
set,
box. Yeah.
Well, and you always get a better price when you go with the box.
Exactly.
Are you guys going to look at like the Olympics at all, or like kind of do a
We
context?
may. I don't have a ton of plan for that yet, since it's not as rooted in mythology as it is in Greece.
Just Greece,
Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can, parlay that
some in.
into some
Yeah,
actual
yeah.
learning
Right.
of Greece and society. But right now, I think she's just a fantasy kid, so I
Totally.
think it's purely related to
Oh yeah.
the mythical creatures and all of that.
Do they
stuff.
eat any kind of certain foods? It'd be fun to eat the snacks
Yeah,
that they eat.
well, that'll
while
be
you do
interesting
it.
for me because I always found Greek mythology fun, but I didn't really care about those details.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun for us to go
Yeah,
through this
explore
together.
all that.
And then
Yeah.
there's tons of media too. There's also Jason and the Argonauts. There's a chapter book.
Oh, okay.
And then there's, just tons. So my daughter and husband have already watched Clash of the Titans, the old 80s, part claymation, part live action.
Fun.
Yeah, McGonagall's in it.
Oh really? Oh, my
Much
goodness.
younger McGonagall.
Yeah. Well, she still looks the same, much younger.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, she looks much younger.
Well,
it might not
Room
even
with
be
a View-
80s. It might be even older than that.
Okay,
I
Room with
don't
a
really
View.
know.
She's in that, and she's like the aunt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she has not changed a bit.
Yeah. No.
crazy.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's her in Clash of the Titans anyway. I could be confusing it with a different
Who knows?
mythological movie.
Shoot. Oh, on YouTube, I found when we were studying some of the myths, they have some really cool cartoon versions.
Oh, yes.
Of the myths.
Yeah,
that's
so
kinda fun.
we've been saving those for when we sit down. And then one of the last ones we found was a child's introduction to Greek mythology.
that's cool.
So I know that one's safe to let her sit down
totally.
with and go through.
Yeah.
And then the other ones we'll kind of do together and we'll kind of lead it and make sure. Because even those Olympian books, I just want to be sure that they don't get too carried away in some of their more sexual content.
Is there any like museums that have like the Greek statues or anything?
I haven't gotten that far yet. So
that would be fun to do too.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to see what I can really wrap up in there. But I know hers is mostly, I mean, she loves the Pegasus. Yeah, she loves all the creatures, you know, Medusa and all those.
That's so fun.
So that'll be fun.
You could make a clay, not to tell you what to do, but you could make like a clay Medusa with all the worms and stuff. That'd be, or snakes. That'd be really fun.
So she'll love that, and that's a great one because my husband loves that kind of stuff too. So I love when I let her pick. Normally she picks things that my husband is also interested in.
That's
so
awesome.
It's perfect.
I love
and
that.
then that really encourages him to really take ownership in some of what we do because he wants to.
Oh, totally.
But it's just usually easier for me to do the legwork. You know, I'm the one communicating with because we're with the homeschool charter. So I'm the one communicating with our teacher and all that stuff. So it's just usually easier for me to keep going. But that's been really fun. So science. This is another fun one.
Oh, yeah,
I love her pick.
That. So
yeah. So for science, she said, I want to study wolverines. Okay. So how do I, take that and make it something more? So I thought, why don't we make our own book of animals?
Oh yeah, that's right.
And so what would I want to do that? And I thought, you know what? I'd want to start the way that a reference book starts. So let's first start by defining how we classify animals. Their phylum, kingdom, family, genus, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are.
I don't either.
I know their names. I know they're a thing.
Yeah.
But what are those?
But what a great time to insert that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As a process, and of course the first animal we'll study is Wolverine, but I want to introduce these things to her first. And since she has such a love for animals, I think that this will be fun for her.
Yeah.
So we're going to start our own animal book with our, fact sheets. And then discussing habitat, if there's very specific habitats or regions of the world that animals get assigned to. That way, when we complete our animal sheets, we know what habitat, if it's, region 1, we can refer back to our reference sheet and what does region 1 mean? Where in the world do these animals live? What is their diet?
Oh yeah, because they use those regions and zones for like gardening as well.
Exactly. So I don't know. This is stuff that'll be fun for me to learn.
I would love to have that, so I could do that for all the Harry Potter creatures. Since my kids are so into Harry Potter, that should be in there.
Well, that's basically the Newt Scamander book.
A Fantastical Beast.
Yeah, Fantastic Beast. So they do the whole, and then
do.
You can listen to the audio, and the actor who plays Newt Scamander narrates the audio book too. So it's basically just an encyclopedia of all of the animals in Harry Potter. So that's already done for you.
Yeah, but maybe if I had your downloadable, they could fill it out while they're listening.
Yes, that would be fun. Except it wouldn't have all that information. I don't know if it's. We'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
So then I figured we'd start with the Wolverine, and then that's where she takes ownership. And so when I told her my plan, she loved it, and she said, can I write a report on Wolverines? I was like, oh, geez, of course you can. Homeschooled kid. Can I write a report? Yes. So I just want to teach her how, the goal of this animal book is to teach her how to find information. So while she can't be let loose on the internet yet, I want to teach her what is available on the internet, how we can use reference books, the library, and all kinds of things. So we are buying the Encyclopedia of Animals. So basically, this is what we're creating ourselves based on her own interest. And then within the book that she's creating, we can organize the animals in whatever classification she chooses. Does she want to organize them by mammals and, whatever? Or does she want to organize them by diet, by region, whatever she wants? That's the fun part, is that however her brain wants to think of animals, we can classify them that way. Meat eaters, it doesn't
Do you want to use my comb binding machine to comb
I may, but we're going to keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the binder and just use the protective sheets.
Yeah.
And then when we get to a point where she feels like it's done, I will probably get it bound because it'll be fun for her to have something that seems complete. Yeah. But for now, I'm just going to do a binder with the protective sheets and slip them in. That way they can be reordered. Because I'm not going in any order when she does animals. I'm going to have her keep choosing. Yeah. So she can go from Wolverine to snake. For
categorize them the way she wants to. Yeah.
Because then when you read about what they eat, that'll probably go, oh, I want to read about that one now.
Yeah.
All right, add it to the list.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm excited for that, just because it's so led by her and it's something she's so interested in.
Yeah.
And it's research oriented, so it's great for her to learn. This is what I want to instill in my children before they leave home, is how to find information.
And that would be a delight-driven experience. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm excited for that. Arts. We have our ongoing private piano lessons. She was so proud today because she completed her Harry Potter piano book.
Oh, cool.
So she played her last Harry Potter song for now, and she's moving on. She got a Star Wars, and a Disney song. She finished Under the Sea.
Oh, cute.
So that completed her Disney book, which she's so excited about. It was a very proud moment for her to be able to complete and pass those songs and be able to move on. So her teacher got her a Star Wars book.
Oh,
so her first song is Cantina Band.
Oh, that's
so it's renewed a lot
funny.
of joy. She came home
Yeah.
and directly got on the piano and tried to figure out Cantina
That's
Band.
so cool.
Yes. So I love that, that accomplishment and achievement and
Yeah.
new goals. So I love that she gave her those fun choices for these, because it's so motivating to her.
Yeah.
She doesn't mind doing her technique work because she gets to reward herself with
these fun songs.
And then she gets to practice with her old favorites from the old book she's already finished, and then she also she asked for a book of classical music. So the first one that she's going to learn is Beethoven's Fifth Symphony.
Oh,
Dun, dun,
cool.
dun, dun.
Yeah,
So
how
she's
fun.
really excited. Yeah. And then she's still taking dance lessons. We were just talking about that before we started filming, because there's some moving around in her levels and schedule. So we're trying to figure out how to make it work. She's only 8. We don't want to be committed to activities every day of the week. I'm still teaching dance, so I have my own schedule now outside of hers. And so that complicates things. I always want to protect at least 1 to 2 whole days off, but now there's a little challenge. So we're going to see where her dedication is in that. I'm not pushing it, but we still have dance. She still loves it enough that she wants to find a way to make some work. And then we talked about ukulele. So our girls are going to take a joint ukulele lesson at least for this fall. But they took their ukulele camp and loved it. And so we want to capitalize on that and keep that going. There's the potential that there could be Nutcracker this year, Nutcracker Ballet through one of my studios, but I'm not sure. But that's always a really fun one. She looks forward to it every year and to grow into new parts. We talked about taking a break, but I'm not sure. We'll see. I don't even know if it's going to happen, but we'll figure it out. And then hopefully next semester we'll be back to our homeschool arts program through our music studio. So I'm looking forward to adding that back in. I hope, because we had talked about doing a semester of composer studies.
I know that would be great for my motto this year of making a joyful noise.
Yeah. And then one of the last categories, which I know you'll have something to add to, is I call it our spend time with God. So I don't call it anything specific because, again, I like her to kind of lead what she's doing. So for something new this year, my husband picked out the Kingstone Bible, which is basically like a comic book Bible. So it's pretty fun, and it's a trilogy. So it comes in 3 volumes, Old Testament, New Testament, and some additional aspects. And so that one's a pretty cool one.
And it seems like right up her alley and what she's liking to read. And
Totally. She loves comics and graphic novels. And so she's already, I don't know if she's completed the first volume, but she's gone a lot into it. Yeah. So she really likes that. And that's great for my husband to go along with her and to talk about. We started last year, we started doing prayer journal.
Oh, yeah.
And so she would just write down her prayers for the day and that kind of thing, or who she's praying for, who she's thinking of. And so now with the Kingstone Bible, and then I'm looking into a couple other ideas too.
Cool.
But that way she can kind of pick each day. So that's why I just call it Spend Time with God. And then she can choose, do you want to just read for a little while? Like, what is your heart asking you to do today? And just figure that out. And so, yeah. And what about you? I know you want to add to
I
that
did
one?
actually notice my 8-year-old was reading, I forgot she even had this. It's called the Brick Bible, and it's a Lego. It's a Lego comic book Bible. I forgot she even had it because my nephew, who's 16, passed it on to them.
Yeah.
And there it was in her bed when I went to remake her, clean her sheets or whatever.
Right.
I was like, oh, forgot you even had this. She's like, oh yeah, I've been reading it. But that's nothing that I'm involved in.
Right.
What I'm involved in is the Great Commission publications. First Catechism, Teaching Children Bible Truths. Our our denomination is really into the catechism. So it's who made you? God. What else did God make? God made all things. So it just teaches them the architecture of the faith and has it done in a memorizing thing. So when they say, wait, how many gods are there? I say, is there more than one true God? And they say, no, there is only one true God.
Right.
And how many persons does this one God exist? And then they say, in 3 persons. And then I say, what are they? Father, Son, and Holy Ghost.
Right.
So that is all what they're memorizing, so they can actually answer their own questions about everything. So we're with the older 2. I'm basically at the 10 Commandments, which is in the question number 80s.
Yeah.
Where my 5-year-old's in the 40s now.
That's awesome.
So they memorize that, and there's a song that goes with it and everything. And their church picked it up this last year as well to do it on Wednesday night. So that was actually just great reinforcement. We've been singing it to them since they were born.
That's awesome.
So, but then the other thing is I picked this up at a homeschool conference a long time ago. It's called the Picture Smart Bible. And I put the Old Testament in a binder, but basically it just goes through. I'm just going to flip to a page to show people watching. So it just goes through each chapter of the Bible. So this is Genesis, and it does it in a, I don't know if you can see, it does it in a pictorial way.
Yeah.
And then they have, so I have the actual printout in their student sheets.
Oh, cute.
And so, like you can see, Genesis is all colored in. And as my husband teaches them about Genesis, it tells them what part to read. So he has his script, and then he's also trained in theology. So he's
perfect.
He expounds a little bit more about it, but it has what to color for the day that he's reading to them and discussing. So this is their little Old Testament book and it just gives them an overview of each book of the Bible. And that's something I never had as a kid. I never knew, was Noah first or Moses first? I never knew the order of things. And so to me, I feel super passionate about teaching them just like the order things happen in the story of redemption. So that's kind of what we use off and on. I've had it, like I said, for years, and we finally said, okay, let's do it. It's going to serve all 3 of them now.
Right.
They can all pay attention. And with my comb binding machine, it makes it possible. I know.
I love it.
So that's kind of the focus, is the catechism and this Bible curriculum. And then just read alouds in general. You know, you discuss all these things. You discuss life, or after church, we always discuss the sermon with our kids, and so that would be what we would do on a Sunday.
Exactly.
Just discuss the sermon, and then like whatever they're learning at church on Wednesday nights, you know, they're doing that and discussing with their teacher there, and etc. So
That's awesome.
yeah. So that's kind of what we're doing this year.
Yep. And that's our school year plan.
Yeah, And notice we didn't say every day we do this.
No.
Every month we do this. We just know what's there, and we go with it, with whatever feels right. Or I actually was interested in trying the loop schedule, and that sometimes I'll go months without ever getting to a certain subject. Not that I believe in everything should be segmented. Right. But I'll be like, man, we haven't done like any science. Yeah. So I kind of like the idea of the loop schedule, because I would just pick up where I left off, you know, versus like, oh, every day we'll do the dailies and then do well-ordered language. Well, then how boring for them. We're doing well-ordered language, you know, a couple weeks every month. Well, why not keep rotating through? Yeah. And that would help me have more variety in what I offer them. Right. Instead of just the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. No, I like that idea.
So yeah, I thought I'd try that more this year. I haven't started on that yet, but all right, should we go to our joys?
Yes, ma'am.
We are doing super long podcasts.
Yeah, that's good. We have a lot to say.
Okay, I'll do my joy first.
Go for it.
Okay, so part of our dailies is this book. It's called Farty Facts, the Big Book of Farty Facts. And actually, it's by the fantastic Flatulent Fart Brothers.
So funny.
Oh
my goodness.
So this is new for me this year in our dailies. And the kids, so far we've done 4 days of it. And like, can you outrun a fart? And it shows a picture.
Oh my gosh.
They talk about how fast it can go, the smell molecules.
Oh my gosh.
And like today was fart breath. How many farts are in the air? But it's all like sciencey.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. So tomorrow we'll learn about something in 1940 about researchers in Chicago about a fartometer or something. So every day in our dailies. But what brings me joy is it's that they're fascinated by it. They're super like, and then we've talked about now like charting our farts, like how often, because the book today said that, a person averages about 14 farts a day. So I'm like, oh, I don't do that much, but I know others who do way more.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, that would be really fun to chart our farts. Like
stamp it every time.
Yeah, every time we fart, stamp, and also do a time, so we know if there's a certain time of day that there's more.
Right.
So we're thinking of just like picking random days that we know we're going to be home all day.
Right.
And tracking our farts.
You're gonna have like children up at 2 a.m. stamping their
papers.
It's hilarious.
And that's kind of like an unschooling way. Like we talked about it together, and they were super excited to do that. And there's no curriculum that tells me to do that.
Right. But now you get to compare numbers, look at graph,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
look at that information.
Yeah,
That's really
observation.
Cool. It's always opportunity.
Yeah,
I'll have to lend you, or maybe you have it. There's a book called Does It Fart?
Oh, funny. Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, and it goes through different animals or whatever.
Does
it fart?
Does
a fish fart?
Actually, every they said in here every living being farts.
It's interesting because the Does It Fart book does not.
Oh.
So now you can fact check.
I know. Now I'm like, well, did I read that correctly?
Well, they might have been more specific, and you might have. Yeah, it might just depend. It might just depend on what they mean.
Yeah, because I think even termites fart.
Maybe, yeah.
But what they mean by that, like if they exude some odor or something. Yeah. Who knows what that?
I'll lend you the.
I'd love to do that.
Book.
Yeah,
it's just like a small coffee table kind of book.
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, totally.
All right, my joy this week. So I already discussed Hamilton, but my son is showing his.
Who's 2?
Who's 2.5. He's showing his flair for musical theater.
Oh, funny.
Guess whose favorite character is?
Oh, King George.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
obsessed.
Who isn't that the favorite character for? I mean, seriously.
No, obsessed with King George.
That's so
and
cute.
To the point where he used our fort building kit. We have the Lakeshore Learning one, so it has like the connector, their balls.
You have a picture of that on our Instagram.
Oh, it's on there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the kit. Yeah, I don't have
really cool.
I took a couple pictures. I'm hoping to grab a great video of him doing King George.
Oh, I want to see that.
So he basically uses it as his scepter, but he calls it his King George.
Oh, that's so cute.
And he like begged to go to sleep with it. Snuggle King George.
Oh.
Talking about his scepter. He sings the song.
Oh, that's
like
adorable.
Descending notes and all. I won't sing it for you. But it's really funny. And he'll sing it, he'll belt it at the top of his lungs.
Oh, is he a good singer? Is he like on key?
I think he's going to have a little more potential than the rest of us in the family to actually have a singing voice.
Because that's what I noticed about my youngest.
Yeah.
She was singing at a very early age. I noticed she was in tune.
Yeah.
And that stands out when they're a little kid.
Right.
You're like, wait a second.
Yeah. So there was a different song that he was singing along to. I didn't know he knew any of the other songs or, could kind of join in on them. Mm-hmm. I knew he knew, like, to the point where he knows facial expressions from watching King George. And he's only seen it maybe 4 times. Not the whole movie. Just the King George.
That's so
portion.
cute.
Only
I can't
4
wait
times,
to see it.
But he will make the facial expressions that goes along with it.
Oh my word!
It's out of control. And then
you have to get that on video.
But he heard from a different room. He heard the song "Helpless."
You'd have to sing it.
I'm not gonna sing.
I've seen Hamilton one time,
and Eliza hits a really high note. And he hit that note. And he knew it was coming. He wasn't singing anything else. It was the note in the middle of a phrase. And he hits that note and sings the one afterwards. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was like, he might be he might have that passion like my 5-year-old does. Yeah.
Well, Sophia, my 8-year-old Sophia, she loves music too, but I think her musical gifts are just different.
Yeah.
And so he might have voice versus other types, or maybe he'll have them all. I don't even know, but it's definitely interesting. Sophia is definitely gifted with rhythm.
Okay.
So she hears
I can hear
beats and breaks it down.
I can hear when she plays the ukulele, actually. Like, she's able to strum with rhythm.
Right, and then she can catch the melody with rhythm. You know, she knows where to come in. She has that natural sense of holding and waiting. But her pitch is not the greatest.
Yeah.
So that is something I do have a goal for her.
That's pretty normal.
I hope that I can talk her into, at minimum, joining some kind of chorus or choir at some point.
Yeah, just to learn those aspects.
Exactly. Just to have a little vocal training, but more, I'd love for her to have actual vocal lessons someday. So maybe next year when our girls have done ukulele, if they're kind of done with it, we can get them doing joint vocal lessons.
I want my 5-year-old to do that.
Yeah, maybe all 3 girls can do it together.
Because, it's funny because in our question of the day, which is part of our dailies today, it was, if you could be the best at anything in the world, what would it be? And my 5-year-old said, singing.
Okay. Yeah, well.
So I know that's her passion.
If you could handle showing your kids Hamilton,
I totally could.
Love it. I just skipped the one scene in the second act, the affair.
Yeah.
I just fast forwarded that one scene. She knows about affairs. I mean, we've read the whole Bible.
Yeah.
She knows what adultery is.
Right.
But
you don't need to focus on it.
Well, the visual aspect of it, we don't need to see that.
Well, that's why I feel like the Bible is written word.
Right.
Like, we're not supposed to have all those images.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just fast forward that one scene, but she knows the content of what happens, basically.
Yeah.
I don't get too descriptive, but...
Yeah.
But yeah, no, she loves all the songs and it keeps growing on her. So now my daughter is super obsessed. So now we listen to it in the car, and then my little guy is just always King George.
See him. Yeah,
King George.
so
You will
cute.
love it. Yeah. So anyway,
maybe I'm going to see you tomorrow night. Maybe he can perform for us.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if our Coop Group friends' kids know Hamilton.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's something they're listening to, but that'd
Well,
be funny.
it's just us and
Yeah. Well,
all right.
All right. Those are our joys.
All right. That was a doozy.